want to talk to kind of wrap up here by summarizing how all this fits into a strategy that's going to make the company realize its promise. First, let's review what actually is going on in the market. Why would people need a product like this in our service? You heard about compliance. The airlines are highly regulated and everything's about compliance. So basically, to the extent that people can use this technology to demonstrate that they're complying with the rules, that's almost a default driver. In Europe, there's a program called Link 2000 Plus that's now a regulation, and it requires aircraft that intend to operate in the European airspace starting in 2011 to upgrade their technologies for automatic reporting of the aircraft position to air traffic control. So without that technology, basically they can't take advantage of. They can still fly, but under very restricted rules. Efficiencies, you've heard about efficiencies, but we basically have a strategy. It's called follow the money. If you look at operations and find out where people spend money, basically we can improve. We can take SOPs and ideas that operators have and essentially automate the process that they want to improve and improve their operational efficiency and save money. Communications, to my surprise, this is really my second time around in this kind of industry, and the first time around I wasn't dealing with voice communications. One of the interesting features I've observed in working with Derek and others is basically some people will buy this system just for the ability for the pilots, the crews to communicate with operations. Think about it. I think we told you the scary story last year, but there are actually a lot of places that airplanes fly with all of us in the back where communications are difficult or absent altogether, particularly over the poles. And going back to Kent's story about the first box and so forth, one thing I tell people as I've come to appreciate what AMS has developed is that our Canadianness and solving problems for people operating in the north of Canada has actually served us very well, because the whole reason people wanted to put a system on an aircraft in the first place 10 years ago was basically because when you fly north of here, there's no communications. So communications, the ability to communicate two ways is a significant driver in the market, and to my surprise and probably to your surprise, there's an awful lot of the globe that is not presently covered by aircraft communications. So you kind of go into the space and you kind of hope to come out the other end, and usually we do, fortunately. The big payoff, I believe, is in the ability to improve dispatch. A full load of, depending on prices, but when WestJet launches the full, with all of us stuffed into every seat, it probably represents $20,000 or $30,000 of revenue. If that airplane can't go, they not only lose the revenue, but they have to spend money to reaccommodate us, sometimes overnights and so forth. So the ability to avoid surprises such that aircraft are always dispatchable when they are expected to be has a huge payoff. You don't need very many $20,000 or $30,000, $40,000 cancellations to pay for our system and service many times over. And as we all know, they do happen. Related to that is asset utilization. We have a imminent, we hope, business aviation customer that has a startlingly low availability of assets, as they have, and the military has the same issue. They have spare airplanes because they know that a significant percentage of them are going to be down, and a lot of them are down because of troubleshooting issues. They can't actually find out what's wrong with the aircraft. They can't take off. So by being able to troubleshoot the aircraft while it's flying and to be able to pinpoint in advance where the maintenance is needed, you can actually increase the availability of assets. Cost reductions, fuel, avoidance of unnecessary maintenance, avoidance of overpaying for services and crews. Kent mentioned APUs. We have an operator who I'm dealing with trying to get some rather big deal going, and they realize they're being basically taken advantage of by the people that supply ground services, because but we're monitoring the APU, and they're being charged for ground power, and because we can tell them where the airplane is on the airport, they realize there actually is no ground power there. So it helps them audit. It's not only the airborne piece, but everything that contributes to the cost of running an airline is fair game for what we do. I hate to use the word, but basically nobody wants another Air France 447. Obviously nobody wants a crash, but the crash of a very sophisticated airplane where you don't know where it is and how it got there is something that keeps every CEO of every airline and every OEM awake in the middle of the night. And we have not capitalized on the fear. I think we took what I would call almost a moral decision last summer. Our cash was very thin. We were trying to do other things with our money, and we realized that for the Air France accident that the AFIR system had some intrinsic capabilities that could be used to perhaps support this problem. So despite our financial profile last summer, we took a company decision to see if we could make a contribution to the community. Now, that has served us very well because, as Kent described, we not only made it work, there's nobody else that's been able to do it. So this has put us in front of and at the table with policy-making groups and the OEMs and major airlines. 2 years ago, frankly, almost nobody in the world knew who AMS or FLYHT was. I don't know if we'd become FLYHT 2 years ago. Today, you'll find in the airline segment and the OEM segment, business aviation segment, everybody knows who FLYHT is because of our ability to demonstrate this capability.